Okay, this is the introductory activity for the organic inquiry lab where we're going to separate a synthetic pain relief mixture. So first we need, before we can plan our separation, we need to know some solubility information on each of our components of a pain relief tablet. So acetylsalicylic acid is a component of the mixture, acetaminophen, and so a binding agent, which silica gel will act as that. So getting 3 small test tubes, we're going to test the solubility of each of these. It says to get a pea-size amount, you want even less than that, okay? So this is plenty. And I'll put that in this test tube. And this is the acetylsalicylic acid. Putting the top on the reagent bottle. Acetaminophen, you also want just a pea size, but even less than that. That's more than enough. It's probably a little too much. So I'm going to use about that much. The reason is because if you use too much, it takes too much of the solvent to get it to dissolve. All we're trying to do is put enough in there where we can see, is it dissolving in the solvent, yes or no. And the last one is the silica gel. And we're going to use about that much of the silica gel. So when you have a very small amount of the component, we're going to add the ethyl acetate as our solvent. So I add a milliliter. And we need to look at what's happening to that. The solid at the bottom, is it dissolving, yes or no? You may have to take a stirring rod to see if you can get it to dissolve. And it's going in. I have a few grains that are not going in. So you may have to vigorously mix it, but don't ever jam a stirring rod in at the bottom of the test tube or you'll break it. You just want to do circular motion to stir the liquid. You don't want to add any force on the bottom of the test tube. So I'm going to add another milliliter and see if I can finish dissolving, or just see if it is dissolving it. And again, stir vigorously. Can you see that it's gone? It's dissolved it. So definitely acetylsalicylic acid is soluble in the ethyl acetate. Okay, so it's definitely dissolved. That's a good thing to know. And then we're going to do the same thing to the acetaminophen. I'm going to add a dropper full of the ethyl acetate. Again, we're going to stir vigorously, trying to get it to dissolve. It looks like maybe some is going in, so I keep stirring. I'm not using the same stirring rod. I can't contaminate, so notice that I have individual stirring rods for each solid. Add another dropper full. Again, stir. And I don't know if you can see, but that is dissolved. There is no more solid in there. Okay. So it also will dissolve acetaminophen. Now to try it with the silica gel. Here's my stirring rod for the silica gel. You can see the silica gel at the bottom. And it's not dissolving the silica gel. You can see the silica gel there. I'm going to add just a little more silica gel to verify. Sometimes it's hard to see the silica gel. So we will definitely want to know, is it going to dissolve the silica gel? The others were a little bit of a powder, so it was easier to tell those. So I've added more silica gel, and you can see that no, it's just kind of like a solid right there. That's a good angle there. You can see it mixing, but not dissolving. So I'm going to add another dropper full, stir it again, see if I can get any of it to go in. At this point, the other two were dissolved, and definitely not. You can see the kind of cloudy appearance at the bottom of the test tube. That's where the silica gel is, and it is not dissolved. So the binding agent, the silica gel, is not soluble in the ethyl acetate. The other two are. Okay, that's one important thing we need to know. Moving that, oh, we do need to do the water. So now we're going to add water. My test tubes may be a little small. And I don't need my stir rod anymore. And when I add water, I'm mainly seeing, is water going to do anything to what was dissolved in? Okay, so that's my water. Again, I'm going to stir my two solvents. Water is a solvent in ethyl acetate. Did anything precipitate out? That's what you're looking for. Nope, I don't see any solid forming, but can you see the two different layers? They're not mixing. So water and ethyl acetate are what we call immiscible. They don't dissolve. They don't mix. You need to determine which one is more dense. So I'm going to add more water, and we need to look carefully to see, is it going to the bottom? Can you see that the drops are going to the bottom? And I'm out of room in my test tube. And definitely the larger volume is at the bottom, and we added way more water than ethyl acetate. So definitely water is more dense layer. So ethyl acetate and water are not soluble, they're immiscible, and water is more dense than ethyl acetate. Let's try it on our acetaminophen. We already know they're immiscible, but I want to see if it's going to cause my solid to precipitate, what dissolved in. And you can see the water layer forming at the bottom, and nope, I don't get any reprecipitation. Now, if there was any solid that wasn't dissolved by the ethyl acetate, it will maybe move up into that ethyl acetate layer. But it looks like it's all dissolved, and that's just the boundary between the water and the ethyl acetate. And I don't think I really need to add water to the silica gel, but we just want to confirm that, okay, the silica gel was not dissolved by the ethyl acetate. So will water dissolve it? So we've got to try and mix it up again. And no, so the two layers, you can see the boundary between the two layers, and the silica gel is still at the bottom and it's not dissolving. Just for the video, I'm gonna invert a couple of times to really show you that I am letting it mix with both the water and the ethyl acetate. And I can do this because I have gloves. And you can see the silica gel is suspended in that, but it's still not dissolving. And it's at the bottom of the test tube. So we have confirmed that the silica was not soluble in either water or ethyl acetate. So we're done with that part of the inquiry, introductory activity. And the only other part we have to look at is just the acid and the acetaminophen, and I've already got the amount in each of those test tubes. So that is my acetylsalicylic acid, and I have the small amount of the acetaminophen. And we're first going to add the sodium bicarbonate, which is a base. So I'm going to add a base to this and see if I can get it to dissolve. I added 1 milliliter of sodium bicarbonate. And I need to stir this.
Flip it over.
You can see the solid on the side of the test tube. I'm going to add some more sodium bicarbonate. See if I can get it to go in, just like I did with the other. Again, I'm never hitting the bottom of this. You may think I am. I'm not. I'm just making circular motions on the side. And it does look like some of it's going in because I had more than that to begin with. So it's just going to take a lot of vigorous shaking. So you can't be timid with this, and you've got to be patient. You can't just expect when you add the solvent, it dissolves immediately. And I may have to transfer this to another test tube, a bigger test tube, to do the second part of my experiment. It's really having trouble going in. But I definitely had more than just those few pieces of the acetyl salicylic acid. So to me, this is a definite that it's dissolving, it's just taking some shaking and